So long as like alchemy.
30 is 30, fresh off the yacht, but not on the court. KD, I think he's grown accustomed to the spacing the three other All-Stars provide. He forgot how hard it can be in the NBA to get buckets. He still got buckets. The Lakers have been rolling fresh off a win against the Nuggets. Isaiah Thomas getting his first start as a Laker. There's the pull-up three, and he would dominate the ball when he was in the game. What's Lonzo's favorite type of play? When he barely has to touch it. The tip in to finish it and tie things at the half from Lonzo, who is playing a lot of off ball with Isaiah in the starting lineup. Second half, more KD. The drop off, the UCLA product, Kevon Looney had himself a game. Not as good as this one. Look at Swaggy with the Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf stay down ball fake. He had it rolling. Pull up. No, it's Zaza. How about a double-double for Zaza getting the start as Kerr decides to shuffle the lineup yet again with this depleted roster? So no Kyle Kuzma, no Brandon Ingram. That would leave the load for Julius Randle. Plenty of touches, plenty of minutes to go around. Am I right or am I right? It's Isaiah Thomas and Julius Randle, the two strongest personalities easily on the team, butting heads in Isaiah's first start. No coincidence, both in a contract season. Agendas aplenty on the Lakers bench. How about Bell? He back left hand like he Ginobili. Woo! Now check Randle on the bench here. Read Julius's body language. I know that look. That's like, yeah, nigga, I oughta snuff you. All right, back to the game. Nick swerving, swagging on him. 18 points in 31 minutes, and what might have been Swaggy's best performance as a Warrior. Durant getting plenty of help from the others, sticks him with the Dirk Diggler, and then he's gonna polish it off with the scoop to the basket. Underman Golden State gets it done at home. The others. Next man up. That mentality, man. Tonight was all about the others. Omri Caspi, Nick Young, Zaza Pachulia. I mean, as depleted as I've ever seen a roster. I'm sure you've seen the headlines. Klay Thompson, the fractured thumb. Steph Curry, the sprained ankle. Draymond Green, the sore shoulder. David West, the cyst in the elbow. The list goes on, right? We did see the return of Jordan Bell, but it was about the others tonight. And it's funny because role players define what makes a good bench player or role player. And you say, oh, that guy's a scrub, but he's not very good. Well, maybe he's not a good bench player, but he's not good enough to be a starter. And what that means at the NBA level is that they need more time to have an impact. If you're at the NBA level, you've got some pretty good skills or some great physical attributes, right? But can you make an impact with minimal amount of time on the court? And some guys, it takes longer to warm up, to get a lather or a rhythm. You see an Omri Caspi or a Nick Young. It looks like they need a little more minutes and a little more time to work up a rhythm, right? And that not necessarily is going to be the case. When we're at full health, they're just not going to have that time. You see some guys like a Jamal Crawford or a Lou Williams when he was coming off the bench, they're microwave ovens. Throughout the history of the NBA, those special guys that can come cold off the bench and right away have an impact. JaVale is that way in a different type of way. He just does it with his energy and his physical attributes, right? But it was the others stepping up. Nick Young, 18 points. Omri Caspi, his best game probably as a Warrior with 15 points. And it was like he had no other opportunity but to shoot the ball, right? He looked around and it was like, oh, I got to shoot it. And what do you know? A funny thing happened. All of a sudden, he kind of gained some confidence and had himself a good night. Steve Kerr, I see you. Now, we've been monitoring this Zaza JaVale center swap, right? So tonight, after the monster game in Minnesota, Zaza gets the start. And I'm not sure how Kerr justified it or what reason he's going to give post-game. He probably wanted another thinker on the court to start the game with such a weird lineup. And that's no shot at JaVale, but Zaza is just a more cerebral player. But sure enough, Zaza delivers. 10, 12, and 5. And I need to give you those numbers because you're like, what kind of 10 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists from Zaza Pachulia. Now, he did have some trouble when they were hard trapping KD high, and he wasn't rolling and diving like KD needed him to, but overall, the effort, the physicality, bulldozing Lopez and banging with Randle, he got us off to a really good start, man. And it was, it was just a fun game to watch. Going into it, it could have been a train wreck, right? But it wasn't. It's like next man up, and they stepped up because KD, the numbers were there, but it wasn't a particularly impressive performance from KD. He seemed to be, I hate to say it, They said he took off his dry fit, his undershirt under his jersey at some point in the game, and he was moving not as ideal as you would like to see him move, but he was forcing shots, and he again was showing frustration, not getting the space he's grown accustomed to playing with the chef. That's really what it boils down to. But, score, and he ended up getting his points, right? Now, the Lakers, first thing that I noticed was, and I know they've got a ton of injuries as well. Kyle Kuzma is out. Ingram is out. And I'm sure that there's others. Lopez is back in the lineup. Lonzo Ball back in the lineup. They elected to start Isaiah Thomas. And, the Lakers have been rolling. This was a back end of a back-to-back for them. They had come off a win against Denver. They've been rolling. Julius Randle has been just absolutely destroying people, and he's like, show me the money. He's like, cut the check, right? Julius Randle is playing out of his mind of late. But it's funny, man, because you examine the contrast of Isaiah Thomas and Lonzo Ball. So Isaiah Thomas being 5'7", 5'8", right? From the moment he stepped on a court as a child, he's had to prove and fight his way onto the court, prove that he belongs on the court, prove that he deserves the ball, prove that he can score at every level he's played at, right? He's got the chip on his shoulder, like little man syndrome, as he should. And to this day, he still plays that way. Now, you take a look at someone like Lonzo Ball, and I don't want you to confuse this. I'm not saying he doesn't put in work, but he's kind of been handed everything his whole life, thanks to LeVar. And what I mean by that is, I'm assuming when Lonzo was 10, who is the loudest dad on the court and in the coach's face? LeVar. Lonzo's the point. Lonzo can handle the ball. Lonzo's the point, right? So he was kind of forced into the lead guard role from LeVar. He's never had to snatch it, right? He's never had to step on a court and be like, hey, guys, give me the ball. Let me run it. He was given that all the way up until now into the NBA. And so that's why I think he gets lost out there. He's a little too passive. He's an amazing passer. Right? But I think he was 3 of 11 tonight shooting. And the part of the problem besides his form is it's very hard to get a rhythm when you're shooting so sporadically. And some of his passes, they're very skilled. But the only reason you see some of these amazing passes is because he has no intention of shooting the ball. They're passes you only make if shooting the ball doesn't even cross your mind. So it's a catch-22 with Lonzo. And putting Isaiah Thomas on this team and into the starting lineup, Luke Walton, you're making Lonzo play even more of a backseat because we know the mentality Isaiah steps on the court with, where Lonzo, he's never had to grasp control of a team. And you're going to keep waiting if you're going to ask him to do that. That's just not in his mentality. That's how he's been developed as an individual. But their defense, the Lakers' defense, was very disconnected. A lot of backdoors, and they weren't switching well. And so, as good as this performance was by the others in the Warriors, 6 players in double digits, shout out Quinn Cook, Iguodala, Livingston, everybody did their things. Kevon Looney, I don't know if it's the UCLA Lakers thing, but he showed us a couple things that I didn't even know he had. I didn't even know he had a couple drop between the leg moves, and he was very aggressive finishing at the rim. Jordan Bell came back, and he gave us some good minutes, and he tweaked the ankle again, man. He tweaked the ankle again. I don't want to jinx young boy, but it's like I've mentioned this in the past, and there is something to be said about being in the right spot at the right time. And Jordan Bell, for whatever reason, some of it is his athleticism, some of it is his youthful exuberance, if you will, right? He's like a puppy out there sometimes, doing a little too much. He finds himself in the wrong spot at the right time, if that makes sense, right? And so hopefully he can shake it off. I believe he didn't get back in the game. I take that back. They took him out. He tried to play through it, and you could see him grimacing in pain. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think the Sacramento game Thursday night's going to be more difficult. For whatever reason, back into a back-to-back, the depleted Lakers, they didn't bring it. They went away from Lopez, who was eating us up in the first half. He kind of has disappearing acts in the second half. Lakers fans, you know all about that. But again, it's just what the doctor ordered, man, because these guys are going to get some rest, and maybe the silver lining is going to be, can we get Nick Young and Omri Caspi some confidence down the stretch and into the playoffs where they can be the role players we signed them to be? Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.